When people think of Dominican Republic, most people picture the exact same thing. They picture Punta Cana, the white sand beaches, all-inclusive resorts, and the palm trees. Now, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that, and I get it, because for decades, that's all the world has seen is Punta Cana. But after living here for 5 years, guess what? I realized something. Dominican Republic isn't just one destination, it's a dozen experiences packed in one island. Some places are busy, some places are historic, some places are built for luxury. And then there are some places that quietly leaves a big impression. Places you do not hear about enough. So today, I'm gonna take you somewhere different and talk about one of those places. A place that I think that gets completely overlooked, but I believe shows a different side of Dominican Republic. A place that is quieter, is greener, there's not a lot of tourists, less crowded, and in my opinion, one of the most beautiful places right here in Dominican Republic, and that's Samaná. I've lived here for 5 years, as you know, and I'm still discovering places, still hearing stories, and still adding places to my destination list. But here's one thing I figured out. The further you get away from the tourist spots, the more you begin to understand what makes this country special. And that's why I think Samaná is Dominican Republic's best kept secret. When I first moved to Dominican Republic, I thought that Punta Cana was gonna be the place where I spent most of my time because it was what everybody was talking about. But the longer I live here, the more I'm drawn to places like Samaná over Punta Cana. These places you can actually really slow down. You can really connect to nature and experience a side of the country that most visitors, they'll never see. And the first thing you'll notice about Samaná is that it feels different. And I remember when I first went there, I noticed that immediately. It just has a totally different vibe. If you were to ask me what's my second favorite city here, I would say Samaná. The city is surrounded by green mountains. The roads twist through the tropical rainforest. And every turn you hit, there's the ocean. That city is peaceful. That city is authentic. And unlike areas that you can feel that are specially built for tourists, Samaná still feel like the Dominican Republic. People aren't rushing. You see a lot of small buildings that line the street, fishing boats just sitting on the side of Samaná Bay. And you could just tell that life there moves at a totally different pace. And I believe that's what makes it that much charming. When you ask somebody about Samaná, you typically hear the same words being used over and over and over again. Words like peaceful, untouched, natural, and relaxed. It's the kind of place that you go to disconnect for a few days. But here's what I appreciate most about Samaná. If you look at a map of Dominican Republic, you'll notice something immediately. Samaná sits on its own peninsula that's surrounded by the Atlantic Ocean. The geographic location itself has helped preserve Samaná. So instead of you seeing high rises and hotels, you'll see mountains covered in tropical forests. One thing I encourage people to do when they visit Dominican Republic is to get out and explore. Don't confine yourself to just the resorts. And I know a lot of times people hear that it's dangerous, and I have a different view when it comes to that. And I'm not saying that you should be situationally aware wherever you go. I think that's just common sense. But if you exercise common sense, on or off the resort, you'll be okay here in Dominican Republic. But talk to the locals. Eat at family-owned restaurants. Drive some of the back roads. Stop when something catches your eye. Take pictures, record video. That's how you experience a country. Not through an itinerary, but through curiosity. And that's what Samaná does. It rewards you through curiosity. Samaná is one of those places where you just find hidden beaches. You find these small cafes that overlook the water. You find a few small fishing villages. Every turn seems to reveal something new. And because it feels less crowded and not like other tourist destinations, you almost feel as if you're not competing with thousands of visitors for that same experience. And that type of experience is becoming harder to find these days. If you're somebody who loves nature, this part of the Dominican Republic, I guarantee you, will become one of your favorite. You have waterfalls that are hidden in the jungle. I know you're saying Dominican Republic got jungle. Yes, they got jungles. I have walked through a jungle here. And as I said before, it has some of the country's most beautiful beaches. Matter of fact, Samaná is a province in itself, but you also have Samaná City, which is what I'm referring to now, Samaná City. But Samaná, the province, has the most beautiful beaches in Dominican Republic, hands down. That's my opinion. The water is crystal clear. You'll find boat excursions. And during whale season, it's one of the most incredible wildlife experiences here in the Caribbean, hands down. It's one of those destinations where every day can be completely different. One day you could be hiking, the next day you're on the water. The next day, you're just simply relaxing, overlooking the Samaná Bay. And honestly, when I want to get away from Santo Domingo, that's my type of travel. And one of the things that I've become to love about Dominican Republic is each region has its own personality. Santo Domingo is energetic. Punta Cana, it's polished. Harbacor is refreshing. Las Terrenas has its own international vibe. And then it's Samaná. And Samaná feels peaceful. And one thing I've noticed, as I said before, most people don't experience Dominican Republic outside of the resorts. And there's nothing wrong with enjoying your vacation in Punta Cana, Puerto Plata, Sosúa, but I'm just here to tell you, there's another side of this country that you should be experiencing. And that's why I continue to make videos about this country. Not because I'm trying to convince anyone to move here, because I really don't care. There's nothing to change or add to my lifestyle if you do or you don't. Because I want people to see that it's much more here than they expect. And Samaná represents that particular side of Dominican Republic. And destinations like Samaná are becoming more and more important these days. Because travel is changing. People are looking for experiences, not just vacation. They want authenticity, connection, nature, culture, a chance to disconnect from the constant notifications and the crowded tourist attractions. And for everything that I know about Samaná, this is exactly what people find when they visit there. Years ago, I probably would have picked the biggest resort with the busiest atmosphere. But today, if I want to get away from the city, I want to wake up where it's quiet, have me a cup of coffee, maybe a cigar, listen to the ocean or listen to nature and just enjoy where I am. For years, Punta Cana has been the face of Dominican tourism, and deservedly so. Punta Cana is a really nice area, but it's only one chapter of the Dominican Republic story. And Samaná reminds us that there's a different side here to the country. And places like that usually don't make the travel brochures. It just quietly leaves that big impression. When I look at Samaná, it's not trying to be the busiest tourist destination in the country, and it really doesn't have to be. Because the beauty of that city speaks for itself. Whether you're planning your next vacation or thinking about relocating, or you're just curious about another side of Dominican Republic, I hope today's video showed you there's much more to Dominican Republic than most people will ever get to see. If you've ever been to Samaná, let me know in the comments what stood out to you about Samaná. And if you haven't, does it sound like a place you'll want to add to your travel destinations here in Dominican Republic? Guys, if you're thinking about moving to Dominican Republic and you want to get an idea what your budget is going to look like, I created what I call the DR Cost of Living Calculator to help you put those numbers together. Also, if you're interested in investing in real estate and you want to work with my team and my real estate advisor, click the link in the video description below that says I want to invest in real estate, or go over to our website, drinvestandlive.com. Check out some of the available properties. Also, I have 2 newsletters, Live Your Best Life newsletter and DR Insider Real Estate newsletter. Links to everything in the video description below. And until then, guys, always keep your goals at the forefront of your mind. Always live in the present, because that's the only way you're going to live your best life. And I'm out. Peace.